staying with us here on Weather Center Live. I'm Chris Warren.
And I'm Crystal Lager. We are waiting on the latest advisory on Tropical Storm Isaac to be released from the National Hurricane Center. It could come out at any minute.
So we want to get right to it right now with storm tracker Jim Cantori and our hurricane specialist Brian Norcross for exclusive expert analysis of Tropical Storm Isaac. You'll only see here on the Weather Channel. And Jim, what are you looking forward to, or what are you hoping to see in this next advisory?
Well, obviously a consolidated center, but I don't think we're going to see that. They're out. The NOAA aircraft is actually out there flying around right now, so that data will be implemented into the intermediate coming up at 8 o'clock. It'll be interesting to see, what they found, which I don't think is going to really vary all that much from what we've already seen. Brian's going to join me in just a second, but again, developments today, guys. Just in case you're just joining us, just a distinct statement today by the National Hurricane Center talking about a very broad center, which doesn't have an extremely low pressure, but it's got multiple vortices kind of rotating around this thing. Now that said, it kind of complicates everything, because remember, when you're modeling something and trying to forward it ahead, you don't want a big area to model. You want a small area, and then you want to forward out, because you're going to get air anyway going out in time. But the bigger it is, the bigger the air potentially, certainly. Now, you can see on the radar, we've got here a couple little twists up to the north and one down to the south, and with the center being about right here now, one could argue, well, maybe this will be eventually the center that takes over. Maybe this is going to try and consolidate into the main center once again as we get into tonight. So all sorts of questions that are certainly ones that we are asking. We've had bands of showers that have rotated across Puerto Rico today. Again, even with the center, very near Guadalupe, we've got rain already across on the west side of Puerto Rico. So let that be a hint to you that regardless of strength, impacts with these showers, and should one of those happen to park itself over Puerto Rico or even the Dominican and Haiti, we're going to have issues in through here. And of course, remember, the topography up here is going to mean we're going to squeeze out more moisture than you already get from a very tropically rich atmosphere in the tropics. All right, we go on in time. Again, strength, not so much of an issue right now. We don't have anything that's going to blow you away, but certainly if you live in Port-au-Prince and you get an 80-mile-per-hour wind gust and you live in a tent, that's a huge deal. If you get a 30-mile-an-hour wind gust, that's a huge deal. So they're very concerned about the storm, as they should be. Hurricane watches posted all across the island. So as we go on in time, you can see Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday into Monday, a good chunk of Florida in this cone now. And certainly today, what we've seen is a little bit of a westward or southward shift in that cone. Let's bring in Brian Norcross, our hurricane specialist, and talk about what are the differences today in these models. Why this shift?
Well, because, as you said, the information going into the model changes as we put new things in. There's always its estimate of where exactly the center is and what exactly is going on with the storm. So when you start with an estimate, you end up with an estimate at the end, right?
And if you start with an estimate with an error, you end up with a bigger error.
That's right. And these different models actually use different estimates on the front end, different methods of estimating called initializing the model. So and that's a starting point that can be a little bit different. And then you have little different equations going through time, taking it forward, and you end up with slightly different solutions each time. But the fact is that these two models are reasonably close together for a good ways along the track. And we can talk about that, but I want to talk about something with this cone that what you were talking about. This is a big circulation. Like you said, it's over by Guadalupe, and it's already affecting. All right, new advisory. Let's punch it up right over here. And the new advisory says 45 miles an hour.
Nothing's changed.
Nothing's changed, right?
1 mile per hour off the speed.
Right.
Not surprised.
Okay. So same information there. But what I was saying is, it's a big circulation, right? And now let's look at the cone. Now take a look here, and you'll see that it's a big circulation like this.
And so if you're in Miami, all of a sudden now you see this western shift. You say, I'm out of the woods, or I'm not as lucky, or pending to get this thing as much. Or
the odds are, unless it went way over on the left side here, way over here, it's going to be felt over all of Florida. And even if it were to go here like this, I knew you were changing it there. Okay,
just draw it.
Oh, okay. All right, there we go. Even if it were to go over there like that, still, this is a big circulation, so we're going to be pulling wind off of the Atlantic. So everybody in Florida is likely to feel this. Now, that doesn't mean everybody's going to have a significant hurricane by any means, but this is not like some small storms we've seen that have gone affected the West Coast, and folks in Miami didn't feel much, or affected the East Coast, and folks elsewhere didn't feel much. The likelihood is all of Florida is going to feel this hurricane, and it's just too far out for us to really pin it down.
And over the last 2 days, what we have seen in this region is a perfect storm, potentially.
That's right, because it's got very warm water to deal with there. Let's talk about the model just really quickly here, because it's just interesting. We talk about this all the time, so to pin it down, right? There is the European ECMWF model run by the European Centre in London. That's where it is. Now, this is Saturday evening. And look where the GFS is, not very far away. They're essentially the same